All right, it is time once again to spin the wheel of problematic. Daniel, would you do the honors, sir?
Sure. Do I just hold it right here?
Yep, there you go. Go for it.
All right, here it goes. Yeah.
All right, what did we land on? Oh, diversity. Diversity is problematic. Let's find out how.
Prophecy foretells of a podcast so stunning, so brave, that it could only ever go by one name. A show so woke that it became its own gender. A show so hot that we'll understand if it turns you gay. You're listening to Stunning and Brave with Chris Cowan and Nate Henderson.
Welcome once again to another edition of Stunning and Brave. I am so stoked to be here with my co-pilot. I'm giving you the finger guns, Nate. This is where you say your
you're
name.
giving me the finger. I don't appreciate the finger you're giving me. My name's Nate, everybody. How's it going?
It's not the worst finger I could have given you. For those watching the video edition can attest.
Yeah, all 1.5 of you.
Yeah. hey, there's dozens sometimes. You never know.
That's true. That's true.
Someday
I'm Nate. Hello, everyone.
We're gonna go viral. And I want to introduce our special guest, Daniel J. Lewis. Daniel, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Hey, I am so glad to be here. I finally bring some diversity to this group
Yes.
of white guys because I
It's true.
myself have come out as a diverse individual. So now we are a diverse group because I am
Yes.
diverse, therefore we are diverse.
I love it. Thanks
Oh,
for
man.
for bringing up the diversity. And what I love is that you're ambiguously diverse. Like it's hard to tell like what ethnic group you might be. But there's a lot of could be Swedish, could be Norwegian, could
Yeah,
be
true.
probably Icelandic. Some
It's-
Icelandic in there.
I identify as the diversity that you need me to identify as
Oh.
in order for you to listen to what I'm saying to be accepted to you because of my diversity.
Beautiful. I love it. I love it.
Wow.
Well,
You're in good place, safe place.
I'm super stoked to have Daniel on the show. Daniel is a longtime podcaster. Been doing podcasting almost as long as me. Not quite, but definitely probably with fewer breaks in between and with a much larger following. So, Daniel, you've had a podcast called The Audacity to Podcast. I'm telling Daniel this because he doesn't know. But he has a podcast called The Audacity to Podcast where he teaches people how to podcast, how to have the audacity to do it. It's clever wordplay because you used Audacity, which is an audio program. So
Did you
Now-
figure that out all on your own?
now that Daniel's been informed of all that, so he's awesome. He's many of his resources that he's provided on podcasting have helped me as a podcaster to really just to gain the dozens of followers that I'm proud to have today. So thanks, Daniel. If it weren't for you, who knows where I'd be? Maybe I'd have you.
Well,
in
you know what? We
100
can make
followers.
sure that this podcast identifies as a very popular podcast with thousands of listeners.
Yes, I like it. Is this just going to be, or we're just going to be doing identifies jokes as jokes the entire
We
time?
could.
The
I mean, we
What
can
entire
identify as
run.
whatever we want.
What are we, the Babylon Bee? Well, I guess we could identify as that. Why not? So, all right, there we go. Well,
That won't get us in trouble.
Daniel, tell us a little bit about yourself. More than I told people, because
I've been-
people want to know the real.
Yeah,
you.
I've been podcasting since 2007, listening
Nice.
to podcasts since '05 in the early days. I come from actually a kind of diverse background. I was homeschooled too.
Mm,
I used to work in a Christian ministry, did a lot of public speaking,
mhm.
both for the ministry, for myself, for my own business, other things. I run a business helping podcasters, or at least I think I still do. I don't know. Cancel culture has come out after me with a vengeance recently. So I
Yeah.
don't really know exactly who or what I am anymore. That's the
Wow.
problem with self-identifying as different things is sometimes you just forget what you
Yeah.
actually are.
Wow, that's deep. That's really deep. So we don't even know who Daniel is, really, because he doesn't know who he is. So we don't know who he is. He's just some random homeless guy off the street that just crawled onto our show. But I'm glad to have you here.
I was told there'd be free food.
Oh, I've got.
Virtually.
Moving on.
Yeah, virtually.
All right. So we like to start off each show with
Check your privilege.
a privilege check. That's right. We like to, as two heterosexual cisgender white males and a diverse person, we are dripping with privilege. Well, the two heterosexual cisgender white males are. The Daniel is going to be a little bit more complex as a diverse person, whether or not he has any intersectional privilege. Because, for example, according to the points chart, you do get, if you're gay, for example, you definitely get, victim points, and so your privilege goes down. But if you're a white male gay, that kind of cancels out the gayness, and so you still end up with some privilege. So it's a really complicated. There's Venn diagrams. There's a point system. There's all of that. But Daniel has informed me that he does, in fact, have some privilege to confess. So we'll definitely get to that. I'm going to kick things off. I'm going to share a privilege that actually Nate and I both got to experience for the first time.
Mm-hmm.
We went and saw Bullet Train together. And I've been
Yes, indeed.
I've been wondering for the longest time when I'm booking movie tickets, I see this section called D box. And I don't know what the D stands for. Maybe I don't want to know. But I've always been curious what
How big of a box is this? And are there women's feminine products inside of this box?
No, it's like a tiny box that you like sit on your lap for some reason. And no, I'm sorry.
Okay, I repeat my question.
I'm getting blue. So
Oh no! Oh gosh, no. That is not what I was thinking.
no,
No.
sorry. Anyway, so it's these special seats that you sit in, and they're called D-box seats. And I've always wondered what they were like, but they're like twice as expensive as regular movie tickets, which are already twice as expensive as movie tickets should be. But Nate and I were booking this, and I get like discounts on movie tickets because, speaking of privilege, I'm a Cinemark Movie Club member. Fork out the $10 a month for that privilege, and
That puts you in the upper echelon. Good for you.
It gets you a free.
Yeah.
Not a free. You get it pays for one ticket and then gives you discounts on others. So, anyways, I had these 2 free tickets, and then all I had to do was pay for the upgrade for the D box. And I'm like, let's do it, man. This is our time to shine. And
Yeah, you couldn't not do it. I mean,
couldn't not do the D box.
can't pass that up.
Yeah, and so Nate, I don't think we even actually talked about the D box element of
We
the
didn't.
movie afterwards, which is really
Remarkably.
actually kind of cool because now we get to discuss it live on the show. But it was pretty funny because like during the previews, there's nothing. It's no different. You're just sitting in the chair.
I was kind of hoping they'd have something for the trailers, man.
Yeah, and then you get to the actual movie. And then it's just like rumble, rumble, and the whole chair is like shaking and vibrating vigorously, like every time anything happens anywhere in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And then it's just like that for the rest of the movie.
For the entire movie.
And it's a train movie, so there's lots of rumbling, and it's an action movie, so there's lots of like sudden boom, bow, boo, like shaking you around in your seat. And I don't know,
Okay,
what was your impression?
Did you notice, because it was a train movie,
Yeah.
I could have sworn that the movement they built into the D-Box was a bit of swaying every now and then. just
Yeah.
like a very gentle swing, like you were
Yeah.
actually on the train. I thought that effect was really cool because
Yeah.
they synchronize it just perfectly with the screen, and so for a second you actually feel. And if they did that through the whole thing, like it'd be ridiculous. But they just did it for kind of more like quieter scenes and stuff, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah.
But the thing is, you can control the intensity of the vibrations
Right.
on your seat. I think they had like five different levels or something. And then if it's just not working out for you and you're like, dang it, I had spent double what I should have for this ticket, you can
disable it.
You can completely disable it and just sit in a chair. That's what that is. So yeah, it was good. I had to dial it down a little bit, kind of halfway through, because I was like, oh, this thing is rumbling my teeth. But no, it was cool. It was cool. I think it has to be the right movie. It has to be the right,
Yeah, and I would never pay full price
right
for
occasion.
that. I would never pay $21 just to have my seat occasionally like vibrate and sway. Like, if they really wanted to make money off of me, what they should do, instead of having it just like occasionally like kind of jerk and rumble and sway, is just make it an actual like massage chair. Dude, I would pay twice as much if you just give me a massage chair in the theater. I would fall asleep within 10 minutes of any movie, but man, that'd be a good nap. So, anyways, movie theaters.
The
if you're listening.
video. I'm trying to find out what D-Box even stands for. I'm on the Cinemark website and I can't find anything. Actually, the D-Box website, I can't find anything so far about what it actually stands for. But there's this one page where they show this video of these people experiencing it, and just, if you imagine it's something other than a movie, it does not look good. This is not a good image for them.
Oh, really?
To show these people with these
I'm
facial
sure.
expressions.
I'm sure not.
Yeah. It looks like they're like constipated or like something. Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, something like
No,
that.
I was thinking something a little more on the pleasant side, maybe.
Oh, wow. Okay. Jeez, Daniel. Way to be a perv. We're trying to do a clean, family-friendly operation here, and you're
I'm
bringing
talking
it
about
down.
like they're
Listen to
drinking
him,
their
Daniel.
favorite soda. Speaking of soda, this is like the soda flattening chair. That's what that is. You put your soda in this, and it's going to be flat in 2 minutes.
Is that a scientific?
That's a good point.
That's a scientific
I
fact.
had a soda with me, and I'm
Did it go
sure
flat
it went
super
flatter
fast?
than it normally would.
Man.
No, I don't know. But that's interesting science. See,
It must be true.
Daniel's bringing science. Daniel's bringing science to the podcast, and I am here for it.
Thank you,
The
Daniel.
D-Box theatrical experience brings movies to life with over 65,000 haptic movements, vibrations, and textures
Wow.
perfectly synchronized to the action on screen.
Wow.
Well, there you go. It was no idea what the D stands for. Probably dynamic or something. I don't know. Whatever it is, I don't think I want the D. So, anyway, Nate.
Just gonna be calling Cowan a D-Box from here on out.
that actually okay. Well, now story time, because you reminded me of. Okay, so we are all mutual friends with except for Nate. Nate couldn't care less. But James Kennison and his show,
I really couldn't.
That Story Show, his co-host John Steinklauber, and there's like this inside joke where we have with John where. One time online, John just asked like an innocent question. He was literally just asking like an informational question about like Obamacare or something. And like someone got mad at him for just asking a question and tried to call him a douchebag, but instead called him a Dutch bag. And now it's like a joke on occasion. I'll just call him a Dutch bag out of the blue because it's so
You're nothing but a Dutch
hilarious.
bag.
Nothing is worse than trying to like own someone
And just completely blowing that. Yeah.
and then just
that's not good.
and then like spelling something wrong. Like that is just like it's delicious. It's delicious.
To be
Anyways,
fair, I take just as much offense if somebody calls me a Dutchman than if somebody calls me a D-bag. So
oh yeah, the Dutch are awful.
I think that
sure.
they're just absolutely horrible. So I would take equal offense to both. So
Okay,
You know.
that's fair. That's fair.
But if
anyways.
someone gets really elaborate and calls you a Flying Dutchman, then that
Ooh.
becomes cool again.
That's pretty cool, because then you're like a ghost pirate. So
Yeah.
that's
That
fair. I like
that just
D-Box.
makes me think of In and Out.
I like D-Box as an insult. I think we should make that
As
a
an
thing.
insult, quit
Whatever.
being a D-Box, man.
Whatever, D-Box. All right, Nate, what's your privilege check?
All right, so the family took a little trip right after 4th of July to the kind of Santa Cruz area. Didn't stay in Santa Cruz though. No, no, no. We stayed in the lovely little town of Gilroy.
Gilroy.
Which is just an
Gilroy.
agricultural wonder, right smack dab in I want to say it's about an hour away from Santa Cruz, somewhere in there. A little bit more inland, but anyway, nothing but cow pastures and horses and agriculture as far as the eye can see. But tucked away in the little corner of Gilroy is known as Gilroy Gardens, which is their theme park, basically. And it is just this little theme. It's this theme park it's hidden by this canopy of plants and trees. And so that was our theme park excursion for this trip.
Ooh.
And man, was it something else. It was actually a very well kept park. It was very pretty, lots of flowers and trees and plants and everything like that. The only problem was the entire place was run by teenagers. I didn't see anybody,
as every theme park
age.
ever is. Yeah.
Well, yeah, I didn't see anybody over 30, and that's a stretch. Like that's like I think everybody was there for a summer job. We realized why the ticket prices to get through the gate were so low. It's because the price of the food and snacks inside were astronomically high.
Of course.
So that was great. Yeah, they were more expensive than Disneyland as far as like their food and stuff goes. Not as much as Goofy's Kitchen.
I was gonna say, but not as much as Goofy's Kitchen. I guarantee that.
But
Throwback to last episode.
Nobody would be stupid enough to pay those prices. So, but yes, it was run by a teenager. So we go, we have a, kind of like a fun half day there, basically, pay a fortune for food. And I'm the budget keeper in the family. So I'm working on the budget later in the week. And I want to just kind of assess the damage that the entire trip, took. And I'm like, that's weird. Every charge hit except for Gilroy Gardens. Okay, well, it's only a few days out. I mean, it's only, whatever. They might just be taking a while to process this. Cool. Week goes by, nothing. Santa Cruz has already hit. Every single grocery store we went to on the trip has already hit. Still no Gilroy Gardens. I'm like, okay, this is odd. I confirmed with my family, who also spent money there. Nope, they didn't get charged either. 2 weeks go by. No charges yet on the account. And part of me just gets this little glimmer of hope. Like, what if, because this place was run by teenagers, and we all know teenagers are super lazy and they just don't care. What if for some reason there was a giant accounting glitch and the hundreds of dollars we dropped there for the day is just not going to get charged? So I start actually getting very hopeful about this. I start dreaming of like scenarios of how, like, why this got completely missed. 3 weeks go by, no charges. I'm like, we're in the frickin' clear. I'm gonna be able to earmark this money for something else, baby. We're gonna do this.
No, you never give in to hope. Never give in to hope.
I know, and so I'm just imagining, well, what if, I mean, it's not like they were like doing an old fashioned credit card system where they put the card on the slider and just cha-chunk or anything like that. This was all digital. I'm like, do they have to like collect their receipts at the end of the day and just like run them up to the park office? And you got some 90-year-old accountant with a visor just like pulling on the register and I don't know, but yeah, it got to the month time, and sure enough, a couple days ago, all the charges hit. 1 month. 1 month.
A whole month
after it
Man.
hit. And I've never seen that level of, I don't even know what you call it. Like delay.
That's
Like
some
I've never
financial
that's
incompetence.
that's so rare. Because look, I mean, yes, we keep track of our money. We do the budgeting type stuff. But there's a lot of people out there that just go by the balance of their account as far as what's
Right.
available. And so a month later, they're like, oh well, we paid for that a month ago, and then all of a sudden they get hit with hundreds of dollars. Isn't that just kind of like, I don't know. Isn't that like negligent? They obviously don't need the money. I don't know what. I've just never seen anything delayed that long. I chalk it up to maybe it's the teenagers. Maybe I don't know. I don't know why they would wait a month to get their money. But sure enough, it hit, and it hit like a hammer, and it was fantastic. And it shattered any hope I had of just these imaginary scenarios I played out in my head of why we weren't going to get charged for the day.
Oh,
But
man.
sure enough,
and you're
they did
probably like
disappoint.
biting into that steak that you had earmarked, is because you're like, okay, Gilroy's not charging me, so I'm buying this delicious steak.
Yep.
And then, like,
I had
right as you're
already
biting
ordered-
into that steak, then you
I
get
had
the
already
notification.
mail ordered the beef. I had already mail ordered the beef. They had freezer packed it. They
You'd
delivered it to my
hand-picked the
doorstep.
cow.
Handpicked. Yeah, they have photos online. I pointed and I said, "That guy is a goner."
You'd
And
auditioned
I was
multiple
just-
butchers.
I was taking. I
You-
did. It was
you
very
know,
pricey, but I figured I had the money. So
Yeah,
what are you gonna do?
right.
What's
Your
that, Daniel?
theory that it was because of teenagers could really be true, because I would guess this might have been it. Although you could easily blow this theory out of the water. Back when I did some public speaking for my previous job, I would also do some of the book sales after the event. And we had this credit card machine that, you scan the credit card, you enter the amount, it prints out a little receipt. Very basic kind of thing.
Mhm.
Well, the way that we then charged the credit cards after that is the machine was simply collecting the information, the prices, the credit card numbers, and everything. The only way
Right.
that we could then process those transactions was to take that machine back to the office after the event. And here's where the teenagers would have gotten confused. Plugged it into a telephone line
Oh, yeah.
and
no.
pressed the button to synchronize it.
Oh,
That
yeah.
ain't happening.
See?
So
My
you
theories were
tell a
not
teenager,
totally
plug this
off.
into a telephone line,
Yeah.
and their face will just be like,
Just gonna- yeah.
what? My
Either
my
that or they
phone
get-
doesn't even have a headphone jack anymore. How do I plug this in?
I just love the idea of a theme park like Gilroy being so run down and shady
Yes, that's what I was
That
hoping
they're-
for.
that they have an unplugged in credit card reader that's like not connected to anything, and that like it's a permanent entrance, but they have to pick it up and go take it using like 20-year-old technology to
Yep, I was.
that's it. That
Dude,
is
I'm
that
telling
is
you,
the explanation
there was a-
I'm going with, because it's too
There,
beautiful.
phone
there's a
jack is, like,
small- there is a
in the-
small part of me that was
Yeah.
hoping for that. Yeah, yeah.
The phone jack is in the men's restroom behind the toilet.
That's right. Nobody wants to touch it or go near it. No, I was hoping those teenagers got sidetracked during like a 200-yard walk to the office, and they just went off to the ferry boats to get high, and maybe the machinery
Yeah,
fell in
probably.
the water or something. I mean, I was imagining so many different things, but sure enough, they got my money. They got my money.
Yep.
So thanks, Gilroy. Anyway.
Awesome. All right, Daniel, as our diverse guest today, what was your privilege check?
Well, I do have to acknowledge that I am so privileged and so systemically gendered that I just go into a store and announce that I'm white, and everybody starts giving me free stuff.
Yep.
And
Yep,
it's
same.
very dangerous. Now, you two are married.
Yeah.
I'm not married, so I don't recommend that you guys do this. But I mean, when I walk into a store and announce that I'm white, I mean, the girls just flock to me. I get all kinds of free stuff. So you have to be very careful what store you use this in too. Don't say it in a Walmart. Never,
Right.
ever in a Walmart.
Oh, geez,
Maybe
no.
a Target, but that's going to be mostly moms. Go to a mall or something like that if you try it. And you just get all of this free stuff because you're white. And especially if you're white, you're male. And if you're systemically gendered, then you got it made.
That is true.
But no, the privilege that I do want to share is I got to take my little boy. I have a 5.5-year-old son. I got to take him to a fair recently, and like all of these things from movies and carnival movies, and like whether it's Stranger Things or all of this stuff where they show these incredible rides and these amazing like haunted houses or these obstacle courses you can go through that are so big you can get lost in them in the mirrors and all of that stuff makes it look like it's so great.
Right.
This fair was not that.
No.
And
Shocker.
I'm not going to say what kinds of people were running the rides, but I will say what they weren't.
It was the Jews. I'm just kidding.
They weren't English speaking.
I did not see your guess going that way.
Speaking Yiddish the whole time.
I would have been happier if it was Jews than if it was Nazis. If it was Nazis ushering me into a closed room, then I would be very scared.
Yeah.
Jews I would be more okay with.
Wow.
But no, they were not English speaking either. So there was this one ride that, they have those things. You must be this tall to ride this ride, all of that stuff. And you can't be taller than this, all of this stuff. Right. So they had this one ride that my son really wanted to go on. And I looked at the thing. He was in the zone that it says, you must be this tall. You can ride this if you're this tall with an adult. So I thought, great, I'll go with him on this little ride. He'll love it. And we'll have this fun time together, have some nice photos together. So I start climbing onto this ride, and this guy that doesn't speak very good English comes over, and he's trying to tell me why I can't be on the ride. And it turns out that this ride, you have to be a certain height to ride it by yourself. You can be a little bit shorter if you ride it with an adult.
Right.
Well, the ride also has a maximum height of like 4 feet or something like that. So like what 36 or something inch tall kid will have only a 4 foot tall adult to ride with them.
This was custom built for the stars of Little People Big World, I think.
I was gonna say, this was custom built for a TLC show.
Yeah.
That's
hilarious. So,
that's like a sibling. So maybe it just limits it to like big brothers and sisters.
Well, it says with adults.
That's about it.
So I wanted to argue with the person, but they didn't understand what I was saying because they didn't speak English.
Oh man.
So I gave up and took my son somewhere else.
They were just saying things like oigave and matzah.
Only your child and Danny DeVito. That's the only people that can ride this.
Yeah, exactly.
Where's my Danny DeVito when I need him? But we did get to try something that I was looking forward to so much because, I've watched Rhett and Link for a while in the past, and they were always talking about food at fairs, like the deep fried food. And so I thought I have got to try a deep fried something here while I'm at the fair. So I looked, they had deep fried Oreos, deep fried Twinkies, deep fried.
Oh, yeah. Daniel, can you do me a favor and talk slower? Sorry.
They had deep fried Oreos.
Can you kind of like tilt your glasses a little bit while you say? All right, continue. Continue.
Play some bassy music.
Oh yeah.
They had some other deep fried things. So I thought, well, what sounds the most interesting would be a deep fried Twinkie. I'm just so looking forward to this. So I got it. My little boy didn't want to even have a bite of it at all. I didn't really mind, although I wanted him to try the experience. He was more excited about the M&Ms that the also not English speaking woman who was manning the stand or womaning the stand. So I got to be gender equal there. Who was womaning the stand gave him these M&Ms, just extra M&Ms for free. He was more interested in that than this treasure of a deep fried Twinkie is what I got. And I'll tell you, I have never been more disappointed.
Yep.
It seemed just a Twinkie dipped in water and microwaved for a few seconds. That's what it tasted like. Soggy.
Oh, gosh.
I didn't even have a crispy, crunchy outside to it. Just, I wanted to try something else, but it was so expensive as it was, and I didn't want to wait for 30 days to find out exactly how much I paid for it.
Right.
Right?
It wasn't good. I thought I've made deep fried things. Like my attempt at making deep fried cookie dough, which was a
Yeah.
total flop, tasted better than this. Oh, that was the other thing. They did have deep fried cookie dough, but I didn't try that.
I kind of feel
total
like
disappointment.
I kind of
I always
feel
thought
like
the idea of
Go
a
ahead.
deep fried anything. Oh, sorry. I always thought the idea of a deep fried anything was they dip it in something first, like a batter or
Yeah.
something, before you
Yeah.
fry it.
Yeah.
Not just like literally putting something in hot oil. Like that doesn't. It's made of sugar. It's gonna like.
Right.
It's gonna. I don't know. It's gonna dissipate, won't it? I mean, no, I don't know.
I kind of feel like anytime you like it's a novelty deep fried thing, it's just you're just setting yourself up for disappointment. Like I feel like society peaked with the corn dog. You cannot perfect the deep fried
That's true.
goodness of a corn dog. There is just
Now
nothing better.
I've gone to an event in Cincinnati. I live near Cincinnati, and there's this thing they do. Probably a lot of other cities do this. Taste of Cincinnati, which is where a lot of Cincinnati authentic restaurants line up on Main Street and serve a certain selection, some of their unique items for set cash flat prices, so you don't have to worry about tax and stuff like that. And you get to try some really interesting things at often very much affordable prices. They're smaller portions, sure, but at least you get to experience it so you can know, oh, that's really good. And one of the best things I ever had was deep fried cheesecake. And they did it right.
Ooh.
They dipped the cheesecake in some kind of batter along with
there
some
you go.
chocolate too. They deep fried it, sprinkled chocolate and powdered sugar over it and all of that.
Okay.
That was good. This Twinkie from the fair was not that at all. And it was more than 3 times the cost of that deep fried cheesecake.
Oh, jeez. Did
Yeah.
you tell the attendant it was no bueno?
Why would you assume that the attendant speaks Spanish, Nate? That's a weird place for you to go to.
Shot in the dark. Shot in the dark.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
All right. There you go. Yeah. You need to
Is
self-crit.
that a racist joke?
I think so.
I did.
Probably.
No.
What?
Jeez.
Okay. I don't know where this is going. All right. So it is time. I don't have the sound for this. I have a different setup when I'm like actually committing to doing video, and so I don't have like the cool sound clip that that introduces my special network. Where'd that go? You know what? Skip it. Nothing's working. Okay. Okay, listen to Retro Rewind Podcast. That's what I was going to say. They're friends of the show. They're great. Francisco just got married, so he needs all the support he can get. So, Retro Rewind Podcast, check it out. They listen to shows that are 15 years or older, and they evaluate, are these nostalgic, are they classic, or can we just toss them out? And if it's any show where a kid is mildly disobedient, Francisco is going to toss it out. Just a heads up. It's predetermined.
Oh, yeah.
All right, moving on.
The Social Net Jerk.
All right, this is the part of the show where we peruse the internet for people kind of, I don't know, just saying dumb things. Just kind of being kind of dumb.
D-boxes.
Yeah. Being D-boxes, that's right, on the internet. And turns out there's always a pretty steady flow of content for this segment. It is a fan favorite, and we got some stuff for you. We got some stuff for you. So let's start with our first one here. Alrighty. How does it say social network? I'm gonna fix this embarrassing mistake on the air. There we go. Boom.
Stupid spell check.
Stupid spell check. What a idiot. All right. This lever. I've got like a bunch of levers and switches in my software that like is supposed to adjust the graphics and stuff.
You're confusing yourself, Kevin.
I'm pretty sure like half of these are placebo. Like this does nothing. I'm actively moving this thing and it's doing nothing. All right. Anyway, we got a tweet here. This is great. I love this. Who wants to read this one? Class, any volunteers?
Oh, jeez.
No? Okay. All right. I'll take it.
You can kick it off.
I'll kick it off. I'll do it. Okay. So this is a tweet. If a cis gay man won't date a trans man because of genital preference, but also won't date a trans woman because they're not masculine, what is it then?
I have all the questions.
Yeah.
I have all the questions and none of the questions at the same time.
What is a cis gay man?
So a cis is cisgendered. It means you identify as your assigned at birth gender. The one that a doctor took one glance at you and totally arbitrarily chose a gender for you based on nothing but their arbitrary whim in the moment. Certainly not based on, genitals or,
So what you're saying then is that a cis gay man is where when a baby was born, the doctor looked at that baby and said, "Yep, that baby's gay."
No. That didn't come later till the baby grew up and asked the male doctor out. And then it was like, yep, that baby's gay.
Oh, okay. That's the criteria.
That was the criteria. No. So cis and gay are different. Cis is your gender identity. Gay is you like the men's. So basically, if a gay man won't date a trans man because of genital preference, a.k.a. they won't date a woman with a vagina who identifies as a man, but they also won't date a trans woman, a.k.a. a man who identifies as a woman but has a penis, won't date a trans woman because they're not masculine. What is it then? They won't date a trans man or a trans woman. What could it possibly be? I think I might have the answer to that one.
You raising your hand? You raising your hand?
You're not gonna like it, but I think I know what it is. I'm starting to put the pieces together, and I think I see what the common thread is between a trans man and a trans woman. Now, this is going to blow your mind a little bit, but I think what those two have in common is that they're both trans.
Oh.
So maybe some people aren't into trans people.
No.
It kind of makes me wonder, you ever see like two trucks passing each other on the highway where one truck that is completely empty and the other is full? And you wonder, wait, why is the full one going this way and the empty one's going that way? How about you just both stay on your own side? If you really need this stuff to go back and forth like that, you're just wasting your time.
Right.
And I completely messed up that metaphor.
You had a great thought. It was really good.
Oh man, dude! I
just realized,
was
wait a minute.
riveted.
What you're saying is why
on every word.
What you're saying is why go both ways, right?
Yeah.
Why do you need to go both
Why not
ways?
just stay where you are?
Yeah, that ties in. I swear it's a little rough, but we'll fine tune that metaphor.
We got there.
We're there. Some people
you
don't go both ways, and that's okay.
That is okay.
My son ate some bad fish the other day, and it went both ways.
Ooh, oh, that's rough. So don't eat by fish. So yeah, basically, and I love this idea that like, I love how the progressive always comes full circle, because the LGBT movement started with like, hey, sometimes men like men, sometimes women like women. Let people have their preferences. And now I love that it's come full circle to, how dare you have a preference? How dare you not like women with penises, you bigot?
The phrase genital preference.
Yeah.
That's got to be one of the weirdest phrases ever, because like it what it really sounds like, and I wouldn't be surprised if this accurately describes the culture, is like it's it's boiling down a person's entire personality and essence to only their genitals. And that's the only reason you like them is because of what kind of genitals they have.
Right.
And it's just so
which is exactly what you'll be accused of if you try to identify, well, that's obviously a man because of their genitals. You'll be accused of reducing that person to their genitals when actually you're like, no, there's a lot more to being a woman than just feeling like a woman and dressing like a woman. But you'll be accused of, it's just the genitals.
It's all about the genitals. If we take away one thing,
it's all about the genitals.
It's all about the genitals.
All right, moving on. Okay, is this the right one? I'm gonna go with yes. But I need to.
Oh, it's nice and zoomed in.
No, it's perfectly framed for the video. I don't know.
We get like half of the. There we go.
There we go.
Look at you.
It's kind of warped there. I don't know what's going on.
You're becoming a pro at this program in real time.
I love that for some reason when I like zoom out of this, it like warps this person's head really bizarrely.
It's kind of like how our parents used to watch full screen movies on a widescreen TV.
Yeah, just like
that's what it's doing. You know, the old ones when widescreen TVs. Do you remember when they first came out? Some of them had this mode that didn't just stretch it, but stretched only the edges of the full screen. So like in the very center, it looked normal, but as you got near the edges, it got
quite
stretched out.
Yeah. For those not listening to the audio only version, you have no idea what we're talking about. But just trust us, it's hilarious. That's hilarious.
It's tilt shift. That's what it is. It's an artistic style.
Yeah, we Instagrammed the heck out of this screenshot. All right, so this is a tweet. Pretty short. Anybody want to introduce this one?
I'm happy to. Go right ahead, Daniel. You're the guest by all means.
Quote, earn a living, unquote, is such a horrifying phrase that we just accept as normal.
Yeah. I got nothing. I got nothing for this.
Wow. Such a horrifying phrase.
I just love that you can tell like they feel like they're oozing with profundity, which is a word. You can tell they feel like they've just hit on this nugget of like, oh man, yeah, that's deep. Oh yeah, take another hit. Earn a living is such a horrifying. I guess I'm trying to step inside this person's mind, which is always scary. But I'm guessing that earn a living. They don't like. It implies that you have to work in order to live. I think is the part that they object to. Would be my guess.
That's messed up. How?
I was thinking that it's more like you have to earn the right to live. That's kind of the way that I was reading it, that they were so horrified by that like in order to have the right to live, you must work, you must have a job, you must get up on time in order to have the right to live. And that's such a horrifying thing to think of, having to do those things, let alone those things be required for you to live.
Trust me, I have a full-time job and then some. It is horrifying. Don't get me wrong. It's absolutely
100%.
It's horrifying. Don't get me wrong. But I think 100%. The alternative is basically you either have that or you have slave labor. Because if you're not working for your living, then you're relying on everyone else to work and provide that living for you. And you're basically just saying, why should I have to work for anything? Why aren't people just dangling grapes above my head while I lounge lavishly in my lawn chair?
Why can't I just enjoy living? I just want to live.
Yes.
Why? And people can just give me things. It's so great.
I mean, go do it. If you could live off the grid and not work and, go into the wild and eat poison berries in an abandoned bus, like, go do your thing, but
You do you.
yeah. But just this idea, this attitude that like,
Something.
Oh man, work is a bad thing. People should not have to work in order to provide for themselves. Everything should just be free. And then I always love that it's these people who are like looking to socialism, communism, like that's the answer. That's going to solve these problems and I won't have to work anymore, as if socialists don't work, as if communists don't literally have work camps, as if you're going to be, when they're assigning the different positions for everybody. Oh, you know what? I'm going to assign you to be a full-time video gamer or a full-time.
Yes.
You're going to be on the poet squad. You're just going to be a full-time poet. Like, no, they're going to go put you in that
squad.
They're going to go put you in that factory that they convinced you own part of, and you're going to be drudging there for the rest of your life, and that's how it's going to work. So.
But it will be your way of making restitution for your choosing to be born white.
Yeah, that's true.
Oh, there you go. Full circle. Somebody tells me I wouldn't get along with the poet squad. I don't think they wouldn't be.
They would They would quickly become the Dead Poets Society, whether they wanted to or not.
Yeah. That isn't a group that I look at and say, how can I join this group?
No, I would love to be part of the Poet Squad. That sounds...
I know you would, and that's the problem, Kellen. Gosh dang it.
That sounds amazing. All right, let me see if I can zoom out of this one enough. Oh, I think that's... Okay. There we go. Okay. This is a great one right here. It's here, Nate. You wanna tackle this one?
This one's called How to Spot a Trans Person.
And
they've got all sorts of criteria on the left-hand side. They have like a human figure drawn with the female symbol and the male symbol and I would assume the trans symbol all combined together.
Yeah.
Isn't that just kind of the symbol for trans,
yeah,
I guess?
It's just the trans symbol.
All right. There we go. Left-hand side is a bunch of criteria: height, voice, face shape, muscle, shoe size, and they are all checked with or they're all marked off with a red X.
Yeah.
Like, no, that is not accurate criteria to spotting a trans person. And there's one criteria written on the right-hand side with a green check mark, and that is they tell you they are trans. And in case you didn't understand what they were trying to outline there, there's a little reinforcement sentence with an arrow pointing to it saying, the only way to know if someone is trans. So you don't know if somebody is trans unless they directly tell you.
Yes. You cannot tell by their height or you can
can't
never tell by their
qualify
voice. Ever.
Hey, sweetie.
Yeah. You can never tell by their face shape or their Adam's apple or their muscular structure or their shoe size or their...
Shoe size. How in the world? Who is using that at all?
I'm pretty sure by the time you're looking at the shoe size, you've already had several other breadcrumbs leading you to that point.
Some things, yeah. You've already seen the bulge in the miniskirt.
I am absolutely not transphobic, but I think that even the most transphobic person would probably not use shoe size as a way. It's like,
oh, that's number one, Daniel. How wrong you are. That is the number one criteria. Watch out. That guy's an 11.
Well, Heidi Klum is a size 12, so that was my first clue that she's actually a man. So, for those of you wondering. So.
Wait, is she really?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just making that up.
I mean, I don't know how women's shoe sizes work, but 12 sounds like a big number.
It is a big. I don't know what a woman's 12 is in men's. That's a good point.
That's a big foot.
I just, yeah.
Shoe size. That's
I
nice.
mean, if they are wearing a men's size 12 and they're like, 5'7", there is a pretty good chance that that's a dude, but
you know what?
know.
They could have removed the word size.
Yeah.
If they just said shoes, that could have been far more accurate than shoe size.
Now, hand size, on the other hand, and especially how hairy their knuckles are, I feel like that's a pretty good indicator. It can be.
Well,
I'm
hey,
surprised
now you have to be careful with that.
Clothing.
My hair is very blonde in certain areas. Like I do have eyebrows. One of my favorite comments on one of my YouTube videos is "Where you eyebrows at, bro?" Because I have very blonde eyebrows. I do have eyebrows. They're just
You're basically
blonde. You
the
really
male
see them.
Mona Lisa. The Mona Lisa has no eyebrows.
I'm going to have to talk to my therapist about that.
Okay, there you go.
So any
I'm gonna see
hair
where this
that I have on my
conversation goes.
knuckles, any hair I have on my knuckles is going to be blonde and invisible. So what does that mean about me? And I have big feet.
Well, since your hair is basically transparent, I think that makes you trans.
Oh no.
So.
Oh no.
Yeah. I'd say that, yeah.
But I don't know, because the only way to know if someone is trans is if they tell you, which I love, because it's like the next step in making every word meaningless. Because first they're saying, like, well, trans women are women, which negates the meaning of the word woman. Nobody can define woman now anymore because it means whatever you want it to mean based on a feeling. But now they're taking it a step further, and they're saying trans doesn't even mean anything. Because it doesn't mean someone born with a penis who identifies as a woman. It used to mean that. But now trans is just like, well, identify as trans. Oh, so you were born a man, assigned male at birth, and now you're a woman? Or like, no, I am trans. Or I'm not trans. Like, which is a lie if you are. Because it does have a meaning. So, I don't know.
I think the even more updated version of this would be for the green checkmark to say, your teacher tells you you are.
Ooh, there you go. If your teacher tells you you're trans, probably are. That's a good, because, they're the expert. They're the educator. They're the education childhood expert that we rely on. So that makes sense. Daniel, I want to get your opinion on this just strictly from a design standpoint, because I know you are a graphic designer, and I just want to get your, what do you think of this just strictly from a, composition and design standpoint?
Well, other than the red and green marks, it's a fairly pleasing, pleasant color palette. Other than that, it's all messed up.
Yeah.
Font sizes, I think every section has a different font size. There are different styles of fonts. Your eye doesn't know where to go. No. There's a little squiggly line that kind of takes your eyes around in different directions. I mean, maybe that's the whole point of this. This is a visual, graphic, designical metaphor of how to spot a trans person.
I like it.
Well, and to be fair, you don't know what font it is, Daniel, until the program tells you what font it is.
That's true. It might identify as
let's not
Comic
make
Sans,
assumptions.
or it might identify as papyrus. We just don't know, and we may never know.
I gotta tell you a quick thing. At my old job, there were certain little pranks that I loved to do that just, the way I've heard one person describe it, as things that make me go chuckle in a corner somewhere. And one of my favorites was, I was getting frustrated that we had just an ice tray for making ice at the office. We had these big refrigerators and ice trays, no ice machine or anything like that. So people would fill the ice trays with tap water, not the filtered water. And so when the ice would melt, you'd get these little things in your water, and it just wasn't good. And I could taste the difference too. So I wanted people to fill these ice trays with the filtered water, and I needed them to take it seriously. So what I did is I printed a little sign and put it by the sink and said, please fill ice trays only with water from the water filter, something like that. And to make them take it seriously and believe it was from management, I printed it in Comic Sans. And that sign stayed there for months.
Yes, I love it. They're like, well, Daniel would obviously never put it in Comic Sans, but management would. Can we say what your old job was, or are we keeping that on the DL? I want to.
Not who it was for. I'd keep that on the DL. But I performed many roles. I was a speaker, designer, printer, print designer, graphic designer, video designer, all kinds of design positions.
Okay.
At a Christian ministry.
At a Christian, we can't say what kind. Sorry. Okay, I'll move on.
Moving right along.
It's just it's a juicy fruit that I want to bite into, but I also want to be respectful of Daniel. And
maybe that can be a future episode.
All right.
We'll
okay.
Because I kind of want to know like what kind of juice you have.
Okay. All right.
That sounded a lot worse.
Yeah, never say that again. Save that kind of talk for the D box. Yeah.
Yeah, Daniel, there won't be another episode at this point, so it's okay.
No, my cancellation is contagious. You're gonna get it next.
All right. So that brings us to our final segment.
Ugh, that's problematic.
And this is the part of the show where, as Daniel read at the beginning, or he spun the wheel of problematic, so we could decide what topic is problematic this week. We did land on diversity, and turns out diversity is problematic because it's never a question of whether something is problematic. The great thing about being woke is if you dig deep enough and look into someone's heart with judgmental eyes,
or their shoe sizes,
you will find something is problematic. And I'd say diversity is no exception. As always, we like to put it out there to the Stunning and Brave Autonomous Zone, which is our Facebook group. It's if you're not a part of that, you're missing out. Just search Facebook for SBAZ, or Stunning and Brave Autonomous Zone, and join in on the fun. A lot of our content from the Social Net Jerk comes from there, as well as some of the commentary from this segment, and just a lot of goofy people with a quirky sense of humor, as we'll find out this week. Quirky is putting it nicer than I would want to. But
they are trans humorists.
Not to be confused
they
with
identify,
transhumanists.
yeah, or they identify as being comedians.
Oh man, we need like a scoreboard for like how many times we're gonna make it an identifies as joke, because that's it's a lot. Okay. All right, so we put it out there to the Stunning and Brave listeners, and we just asked, what is problematic about diversity? And we got some dad jokes. So
we got some answers. We got some answers.
We got literally every single one of these answers is a pun, but not like a good pun. Like come
on, man! you're ripping our three most faithful listeners apart.
Yes, but you know what? If they've stuck through this far, you think I'm really gonna scare them away at this point?
You don't even know if they're your most faithful listeners. These could be the three listeners who, because you posted this late at night, they couldn't sleep. They tried everything else, and they thought, oh, if I could find anything to put me to sleep, it's probably going to be in the Stunning and Brave Autonomous Zone. And they find this, and now they're sleeping peacefully.
That's probably it. Well, there's no way to verify that they actually even listen to the podcast. They might as well just be responding to the post.
That's true.
There's no way to know.
That's true.
So, self-own. Yeah. Okay. So Lisa says, so what's problematic about diversity? Lisa says, I think a city for just divers is quite problematic. We don't have Plumber City or Mechanic City or Custodian City. How many divers are there anyway? So I just told her to get out, to just leave. Just go. Just go. Be free. That is the kind of diversity we don't need. is the diversity of bad jokes.
Look, to be fair, it's been a long time since we've asked our website, what's problematic. So people are coming in a little unfamiliar, a little rusty.
There you go. There you go. We took the summer off. It's on us. It's on us. Yeah.
It's on us. It's on us. It's
fair.
Our fault.
Nate, do you have this up? Do you want to take the next one, or should I
do.
Okay.
I do.
All right.
Chris, definitely not Chris Cowan, says it has the word itty in it, which is obviously fat-phobic because everyone knows only the itty-bitty people get put out there as hot. End fat phobia now.
There you go.
There you go.
And then Robert says, diverse city? Like the Toby Mac backup band? I didn't even know that was a thing. Toby Mac is white. Toby Mac is a cisgender. Toby Mac is a heterosexual. Not very woke, if you ask me.
Okay.
That almost sounds like a Dr. Seuss. Toby Mac is white. Toby Mac is cisgender. Toby Mac is heterosexual. Not very woke, if you ask me.
That actually probably is going to be a children's book coming out soon. Not Toby Mac, but it'll be like some other stand-in character.
It's like C. Toby Mac.
It'll be the follow-up to Anti-Racist Baby or something like that. Which, in case you're wondering, is an actual book, Anti-Racist Baby. I own it.
Yeah,
actually. Yep.
That is true.
All right. Well, we got some feedback from the listeners on that. But I want to put it out there to Daniel, our special guest here. What do you think is problematic about diversity? Because you had some firsthand experience about actually, as you mentioned, you are a diverse person, and maybe you can kind of elaborate a little bit on the type of diversity you brought that ended up being problematic.
Yeah. So I'm in the podcast space, and there was this particular podcast organization. I don't know if I'll actually name them or not. Probably will try not to name them here.
Let's name them.
People who follow
Bob.
me know.
We'll call him Bob.
Yeah, Bob.
There we go. Your name.
Bob was a group that I really wanted to join. As soon as they were announced, I was petitioning them saying, I want to be on this. Here's where I think I need to be on this. Here's what I think I bring to this, all of this stuff. And among this, I was pointing out certain aspects of diversity that I bring, like actual measurable diversity, like how most of the people that they had were corporate side or didn't actually work with podcasters, were only podcasters, or were from big networks or stuff like that. And here I'm an independent person that I don't work with a big network. I've worked with many thousands of podcasters, maybe, that I've served through my podcast. I'm very connected with the indies, like all of this certain diversity in that way that they definitely needed. The other aspect was that I'm from the Midwest. A lot of their people are from one of the coasts, the left coast or New York. So bringing someone from kind of Midwest, from the Bible Belt, I am a conservative. They had no conservative representation on their board previously, and probably don't anymore either.
You're right.
So I was petitioning to be part of this. Finally, they opened it up that people could vote for the next board members.
Nice.
So I put my name in the ring, and
you proposed to Bob.
I'd actually thought, I actually thought of, when I had my opportunity to give my special speech, my pitch speech, I thought of actually saying, and I identify as diverse. I wanted to say that in my speech. But a friend said, Daniel, you probably shouldn't, maybe not bring that up or say that in this particular context.
Right.
But I did talk about, in my speech, I talked about how I have served a diverse audience of podcasters and many different podcasters. I'm especially connected with the independent podcasters and some of these other things. So I don't know what the actual vote counts were, but I was voted onto this board. I was super excited because it seemed like a prominent organization. I was excited to bring diversity to the board. Sure, they had diversity in ethnicities, but it really seemed like they didn't have diversity of thought. woo, woo, woo. There's the
Right.
scary thing is, you know, that today people do not like diversity of thought. It's you need diversity of skin color.
Right.
Because that's not racist to make sure that you have to have people of certain skin colors represented. And that means not including people with different skin colors. So I thought that, okay, I might be the one and only conservative person on Bob's panel. And I was
but you
okay
made
with
it,
that.
and you got on there, and it was a happy ending. So that's awesome. What a beautiful story, Daniel.
Yeah, exactly. And that's not the end of it, though. We had.
Okay, shoot.
I thought this was just a bragging segment. Come on.
Yeah, look how nice I am. Look how special I am, and how much I need
tell us things were gonna go south.
Okay, but I'm confused because you're white and you're straight. So shouldn't everything work out for you always?
Did you just use your privilege to assume that I'm white?
Oh, damn it! I did. Okay, sorry.
So we had one board meeting. We were all excited. I was going to actually be the head of the membership committee to help bring in new members. And one of the things I was thinking of is a couple things in my mind was, yes, I know I'm fighting upstream here because upstream, uphill, whatever, because I might be the only conservative person on the board. That was just a guess. I didn't know for sure.
Yeah.
But it was a pretty reasonable guess.
Yeah.
So I knew I need to make sure that I approach everything fairly, and I was prepared to do that. Yeah. I also wanted to make sure, because they had this whole diversity, inclusion, and equity statement that I don't think they had a sign, but it was just like, yes, I read and acknowledged this. And one of the things in there that talks about is that they want to make sure that they amplify underrepresented voices.
Right.
And I thought, well, yeah, in podcasting, conservative voices are significantly underrepresented.
Right.
Yes, there are some popular conservative podcasts, but like when you look at all of these articles and major coverage and awards for podcasts, the conservative podcasts are just not there.
Right.
And people aren't talking about the conservative podcasts. And even a study recently came out about podcasters that there's all kinds of stuff we could get into with that. But one thing to pull from that in this context is that it really did prove the point that there are fewer conservative podcasters than there are conservative Americans. Right. So that's not even matching. So I was thinking, okay, sure, I'm fine with just supporting whatever podcasters are out there, because that's what I've done for years. Is I've never turned someone down because of any particular thing. Even the one time after I'd already signed a contract with someone, I realized what their podcast was about. I told them, I'm not comfortable with this, but I'm still willing to help you. They were very kind about it. They said, it's okay. I don't want to force you to do something you're not comfortable with. We can close this. So very friendly exchange. So I thought I could work with this group. I could represent a diverse group of podcasters. I could help uplift these truly underrepresented voices. And then...
That was silly. I mean, cute that you thought that,
still,
but
silly.
No. You're so silly, Daniel.
Silly little David going up against Goliath. I didn't see it like a battle, so just clarifying that.
Yeah.
So
you saw yourself probably more as Jesus, and then they were all the water that you were walking on. Yeah,
as a white Jesus, of course.
Right, obviously. Swiss blue-eyed Jesus.
And a couple days after that is when the Supreme Court leak happened talking about it looked like Roe versus Wade was going to be returned to the states, overturned, and the decision about abortion returned to the states.
Yeah.
So I'm very pro-life. I was excited about that. I was a bit too excited, and I opened my big mouth and spoke to the wrong person. I started a fight with someone, which was my big mistake. And I used a couple terms. I said that I was referring to the act of supporting abortion, the act of abortion. I see it as barbaric because you're killing kids through abortion. That's barbaric. I mean, everything you can think of, like every problem in the world, I think having more people to help solve those problems is a better thing. You know, if you want to say like, hey, climate change is a problem. Hey, what if we had more people thinking about climate change? Or, hey, cancer is a problem. What if we had more people who became doctors? Or, hey, how about this, Bob? How about all of those 1 million babies that were killed last year and approximately every year? How many of them could have turned into future podcasters who are supporting the literal murder of future podcasters? So I got a bit vocal on some things, as you can tell.
Yeah.
And
which is weird because we don't usually like that on this show. So with this, we're definitely making an exception for you.
So conformist.
Yeah.
You just go with the flow.
Yeah.
So was it Daniel, was it the word barbarians that or barbaric that turned the person off, or was it when you called the entire panel a bunch of murdering heathens?
Well, so the panel, this was not toward the panel.
Right.
So and you even fell into the same thing, Nate, that a couple readers read, is I didn't call any people barbarians.
Right.
I called the action barbaric.
Yeah. Right.
But
Understood.
That's a distinguishment that I've realized since then. The secular world doesn't really see the difference between what you do and what you are. And even looking at scripture, I realized that even scripture, says you were adulterers, you were idolaters, you were fornicators, but now you're saved. So I think even scripturally, the Bible identifies the sinner by their sin until we're saved by Jesus Christ. Then we're no longer identified, because we may still struggle with those same sins, but we're no longer identified by them. So that's something I kind of realized. That's your sermon. Let's take up an offering and sing a hymn.
No, but
close.
I think that's a good point, because that is our culture now. Our culture is so wrapped up into like, well, this is my identity and this is my identity. It's like, it's no longer like, oh, hey, I happen to have this mental illness that I'm just struggling with. It's like, okay, I'm going to blast this on my Twitter bio that I am bipolar and, gender dysphoria and dealing with anxiety and depression. And like, you feel the need to like, it's almost like boastful, because like anything that like you do or is part of your identity is now who you are. And like, you talk about reducing people to oversimplified terms. Like, I think that is a really good point, that we have this culture set up now where it's just like, oh, you did a thing I don't like, that now defines you. Oh, you tweeted something 10 years ago that I don't like, that now defines you and is unforgivable. Yeah, I think that's a great point.
So the two words they jumped on is, one, they were thinking that I was calling people barbaric. And the other thing is, they jumped on this, and in this change.org petition, hey, I have a change.org petition about me. Yay, nice, I've accomplished that. So in this petition, they actually blacked this word out.
Hashtag goals. Yeah.
Yeah. They marked this word out as if it was a horrible word that I said in my post. And my post was saying, I don't remember it verbatim, but it said that basically making the point that the people disproportionately affected by abortion in society are Black people.
Yeah.
And nothing kills more Blacks or women or any other group than abortion.
Yeah.
Now, I just used the word Blacks. I didn't say the Blacks, because that sounds weird to say the Blacks, the whites, the Christians,
the
stuff
Jews,
like that. Yeah, using the word
gays.
the.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Saying the in there, just sounds weird. I didn't use a the. I just said Blacks, women, and anyone else. And apparently, there's a small portion of Black people who get offended by the word Blacks.
Right.
And they started calling me racist because I was using that. And like, for ignoring the context here, that I'm saying, hey, this is murdering these people. We shouldn't be murdering them. But so I went on this search through the internet of, is this really a thing? Is calling Black people Blacks actually offensive?
Right.
So like,
is that
I
really
looked on
a racial
Wikipedia.
epithet?
Did you know Wikipedia actually has a list of racial slurs?
Nice. I've been thinking of brushing up. So that's
a great place
handy.
to go. Well,
yeah.
The word Blacks does appear on that list.
Oh.
In the descriptions for other terms. It's just used in a sentence.
Oh my gosh.
Like, you know, the N word is on
Right.
there.
Yeah.
And it probably, it said something like, this is a derogative term to describe blacks. You know, it's just like used as a regular thing. And I even went to the ACLU, and on their main page for racial justice, they have a block that says whites versus blacks or something like that, and they use it. I even went to the bottom of the internet barrel of words, Urban Dictionary, and I didn't find a derogatory definition of blacks until I think page 99 or somewhere around there. Maybe it was 37 or something. But like, you know, many pages down before anyone considered it derogatory. And I talked to, I hated doing this. I hate even just describing that I had to do this or I called some black friends.
Right.
I mean, and that just sounds so
right. You hate, I totally get that feeling. That's a weird feeling because then it's just like, oh, it feels a little bit like, oh, I'm using you as like my friend to tell me. Yeah, I totally get that.
But I had some friends that I knew they would be okay with my asking. A friend from church, some friends from the internet, some friends that I didn't know if they were conservative or liberal, Republican, Democrat, something else. I didn't know if they were straight or something. I just knew, I think we have a good enough relationship that I can ask you these questions. And they all said, no, that term isn't offensive to us. That's just common term. So as a result, there was this.
Here's the problem. Here's the problem, Daniel, is you said it as a conservative. If you had said it as our incredibly smart and coherent president, Joe Biden, nobody would have cared because he's not a conservative. But if you say the same exact thing as a conservative, then it's automatically coded language, and you are unavoidably and unequivocally freaking racist, dude.
Well, a telling thing was there was I think it's a woman behind it, a group that specifically represents black podcasters or podcasters, basically podcasters of any color other than white. And I'm fine with that. I'm fine with groups like that existing as long as they clearly communicate that's their purpose.
Right.
So this person there was a lot of back and forth talking about me. And this person that's in charge of this colored, the wrong word. But this group, this person said something like, oh yeah, I didn't even realize he used a racist term the first time I saw it.
Right.
Well, wait a minute.
If you didn't even immediately recognize it as a racist term,
right,
it's probably not racist. Like if you wouldn't think it's racist, then why are you as a white guy supposed to know all the racist words if the people you're supposedly targeting don't even know all the racist words?
Yeah. The only people who told me it was racist when I asked them were white people. None of the black people I talked to said it was racist.
I love it.
So
imagine that.
There was an emergency meeting with the board. I got voted out.
Right.
Not
by the same people who voted you in.
Right.
And that's
now,
key.
That's the way
you were voted in by actual listeners who cared about what Bob was doing and cared about you and supported you. You were voted in by them and then kicked out by the
board members.
Yeah, by the board.
And the bylaws are written that they can do that. That is the way it's structured.
Right.
And that makes sense. We vote in a president. Some people think we didn't this last time. I'm not going to go there. But we vote in a president, but we're not the ones who vote out the president. It's Congress who then votes out the president. So I understand that structure. But it was a very weird meeting too, because no one asked me any questions.
Right.
It was all them telling me what they thought about what they thought my beliefs were. And all of this stuff that I just had to keep saying, no, please listen to what I'm saying about myself.
Right.
And having to say, no, that's not what I believe. That's not what I mean. That's not how. And like all of this stuff, they started off the meeting saying, it's not about your beliefs.
Right.
But it was obviously about my beliefs. And at the very end of the meeting, the same person who said, it's not about your beliefs, at the end of the meeting did say, because of your beliefs, you can't be on here. So, so I was voted off. I mean, that hit me hard. That hit me really hard emotionally. So I kind of just disappeared for a while. But the way they announced it was they said that I created an environment basically that didn't support diversity. And so therefore they kicked me off, or I was therefore no longer a member. So like what they're basically saying is, we're going to exclude Daniel in order to have diversity with Bob.
Yeah.
Like inclusivity by exclusivity.
And there you go.
Then I mean, moving on from that, a more recent thing that now I kind of wish some of this stuff was timed a bit more differently so that some of these things overlapped a little bit more. But recently there was a study about podcasters, not about podcast listeners, but the people who create podcasts, to discover how diverse they are in certain stuff. So, I mean, I'm very familiar within the podcasting industry. They talk about, we need more women podcasting. We need more Hispanics podcasting. We need more people of color podcasting. We need. That's what they're often saying. And that's a problem with diversity, is when you say you need it and you force it, you end up becoming racist by enforcing diversity. Because what you're basically saying is, okay, if you have a board of 12 people, and you need that board to be diverse, to most people, diversity means skin color, unfortunately, or to the liberals at least, then that means that if you get a certain number of white people who apply to that board, you have to say no to some of them because of their skin color.
Yeah.
Because you have to have someone else, your token person of a different color.
Yeah.
And that's where diversity becomes racist.
Yeah.
And forcing it. I mean, I'm all for letting there be diversity, but not forcing it.
Yeah.
And I'm all for welcoming people, making sure that no one feels unwelcome because of whatever thing it is, skin color, political affiliation, whatever. Yeah. I just don't think we need to force it. So in this study, for all of those people now who were previously saying we need more women in podcasting or all of this stuff, if they wanted to now be accurate to the data, this is what they would have to say, according to the data as it matches the United States population. They would have to say, and this is not me saying this, so nobody quote me out of context here.
Right.
They would have to say, we need fewer Mexicans podcasting.
Right.
We need fewer Black people podcasting.
Yeah.
We need more Republicans podcasting.
Right.
We need fewer Democrats podcasting. We need nobody who is male or female, who is neither male nor female. We need none of them. We need all of them to stop podcasting. That's what they would have to say now if they were previously saying we need more women in podcasting. Because if you want it to be as diverse as the United States, then this is what you have to do.
Those are groups that are disproportionately overrepresented in podcasting, and that's not a bad thing. Like, that is not a bad thing at all. And I know Daniel's not saying that. That's not a bad thing for us to have more Mexican podcasters percentage-wise than there are actual Mexicans represented. That's a fine thing. The problem is what you're saying is, if you apply the logic of, we need to make sure people are adequately represented, and then all these groups are overly represented, and you're supposed to then target anyone who is overrepresented and try to deprioritize them, then at this point, you would have to deprioritize all the population minorities because they're actually overrepresented, which is really a great thing. It's more like, it should just be a celebration. It should just be like, we did it, guys. Like, congratulations. All those minorities are now overrepresented above and beyond. So we can just hang up we can just head on out. We're not needed anymore. Yeah, the Republicans, they're a little, conservatives, they're a little underrepresented.
Yeah, so all those people who were previously saying we need these certain groups represented, it seems they've stopped saying that since
Yeah.
this study came out. Maybe they realize that they would need to say, we need more Republicans podcasting. And these people who are typically saying this kind of stuff are not the types who want conservatives podcasting. And that this is what you have when you try to force diversity, is you create a bigger problem. You create more division, more racism by trying to force diversity. And my perspective is, we don't need diversity. Diversity is great. I think diversity of thought is more important than...
So just so you know, his opinions don't reflect ours. So
I think diversity of thought is more important than diversity of skin color.
Right.
And I think that we should let things happen, however diverse they end up being. And at the same time, we should make sure that anyone who is a, quote, minority should not feel unwelcome in this space. Well, and like that's what I love about like many churches out there. Although they may weigh more on the white side, they're equally welcoming to people who are Black or Asian or Trump orange or anything like that.
They're extra welcoming. If you're a Black person in a white church, they're like, they want to put you at the front of the line. They're desperate for you. Oh wait, maybe that's the problem. I don't know. I get confused, but no, I think this is a great. It's really sad that you had to experience this, but it really does highlight this really faulty and really shallow approach to diversity, which is, okay, you're white, okay, you're Black, okay, you're kind of ambiguously ethnic, we'll let you in. It's a very shallow approach, and it doesn't work. And then, like, what do you do when you achieve that? Like, move the goalpost further? Like, what do you do at that point? You've achieved diversity of ethnicity. What do you do at that point? And I think what I've seen it. What I think as a society, we're still figuring a lot of this out. And every now and then I do see a glimmer of hope, because I do recognize that it is a complex thing. And it should be treated complexly. It shouldn't be treated as like, okay, we have a quota of ethnicities. It should be treated as like, okay, there might be some biases that we're bringing to this situation, and it's important to try to mitigate those. I think a lot of places are going overboard with that, but I think like avoiding bias and just providing equal opportunity is only solution. We can't specifically target ethnic groups. I just read this. There's this new article that just came out where like the Minneapolis school district is saying we have to prioritize firing white people over other ethnic groups if it comes to layoffs. And that is like, how does anybody look at that and say it's not racist? And well, the answer is they redefine racism to mean,
well,
anything
they define it like, this is the whole Ephraim X Kennedy. I completely butchered the name, so I'm not remembering it correctly. But the person who basically invented critical race theory is the idea is, in order to make up for past racism, we have to introduce more racism. They don't put it in that language, but that is what they're saying, is that in order to make up for all the white people getting the attention in the past, we have to make sure the Black people get the attention now more than the white people. And I think, until what point? And certain things, it's also like, well, they didn't have podcasting in the 1950s when racism was a problem. Yeah. And there's been nothing preventing people from these different ethnic groups from when podcasting was born in 2004, nothing that prevented them from becoming popular, and some of them did become popular back then. Yeah. So it's just like this. You see these groups, and maybe you've talked about. I think you might have talked about one of these groups in the past on an episode. But like these groups that collapse in on themselves, they do self-crit, and they realize, oh man, we are not as diverse as we need. We need to just we need to stop. We need to dissolve our group because we're homophobic in trying to amplify all the gays and lesbians and transgenders and the LGBT plus subscription that we've been pushing to push all the new genders out there every month. and all of this, and they shut down, and that's what happens when it's just it's a kind of, I say this cautiously, it's a kind of craziness when you start prioritizing the wrong thing instead of prioritizing people.
Yes. Amen to that. All right, we are way over time for this fully loaded, extra fat episode. Thanks so much, Daniel, for joining us.
Wait, did you just fat shame me?
Thank you.
I absolutely did, and I would do it again. No regrets.
I love you too.
Yeah, but it's nice. We don't usually get to have a Nazi on the show, so it's really awesome having you here. And we will. I'm kidding. All right. Love you all. Catch you next time. Peace out.
Bye.
If you're not telling everyone about this show, you're probably a potophobe and a Nazi. Don't be a potophobe. Tell your friends and leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or wherever you subscribe.